Hi there, this is Tata and welcome to the Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Wednesday, September 13, 2023, and tonight I'll be talking about AEW Dynamite. So tonight's Dynamite was a go-home show to AEW Grand Slam. And let me tell you something, there were a couple things that happened that I actually really enjoyed tonight. Let's kick things off talking about this Grand Slam World Title Eliminator Tournament with Samoa Joe versus Roderick Strong 2. So they each won their respective matches to get here. Now the first time that Samoa Joe and Roderick Strong faced each other in before this tournament was actually back in June. Like, you guys remember, Samoa Joe's the reason why Roderick Strong's still wearing that neck brace. And obviously that's a match that Samoa Joe won. So I feel like this match was pretty predictable. I thought that Samoa Joe was going to win, and he did win. He won by submission after he gave Roderick Strong a lariat, and then he put him into a sleeper. Now, earlier in the night, you had Roderick Strong get interviewed, and he was talking about how he nearly, the keyword was nearly here, and then Adam Cole interrupts, and he basically told him it's a horrible, every match is predictable tonight. Yeah, you can make that argument. It was horrible because he says that Samoa Joe could possibly break his neck after what happened last week. Samoa Joe injuring MJF. And Roderick Strong calls out Adam Cole for supposedly now carrying when the Kingdom are the only ones who believe in him. And he basically accuses Adam Cole of only caring for Max. And that when he beat Samoa Joe tonight, he would go face to face with Max and become AEW World Champion because he's a wrestling legend. And you can tell Adam Cole kind of looked concerned. He looked worried. He didn't know what to do. So going back to this Grand Slam Eliminator tournament match, like I said, Samoa Joe does defeat Roderick Strong. And immediately after, you had Matt Taven go in there and check on him. And Samoa Joe cuts a promo, and he basically says that the prophecy has come true. Next week, he will beat up MJF and take everything he has, including the AEW World Title belt, or the Triple B, as MJF calls it. And the funny thing is Adam Cole comes out, and as he's coming out, Roderick Strong, he just collapses. And the Kingdom, they're blaming Adam Cole for this happening to Roderick Strong. And poor Roderick Strong, he gets taken out on the stretcher. And Roderick Strong's calling out to Adam Cole, Cole, where are you? And it's just he's right there. And he's I can't see you. And I thought that was just really hilarious. It's Adam. Yeah, that was really, that was funny. And so you see Adam Cole, he's trying to leave, but the Kingdom and Mike Bennett, Matt Taven are not letting Adam Cole go with Roderick Strong. And so Samoa Joe comes back out, and he puts Adam Cole in a sleeper. Now, this isn't the first time Samoa Joe puts Adam Cole, baby, in a sleeper. Remember back in NXT, Samoa Joe also put Adam Cole in a sleeper. And then, he steps on Adam Cole, and he's just, flexing and doing all these poses, trying to show that, he was dominant over Adam Cole, and that he's sending MJF a message, basically. That was a dumb ending. That's I kind of thought something was up, especially when it ended 5 minutes early. I'm it's 5 minutes. What's going to happen? And that's what ended up happening. Well, I did think the match was predictable. While the ending to the match was predictable, I thought it was a decent match. I liked it. But we knew Samoa Joe was going to win that. So let's talk about another thing that happened on here. We got to talk about this MJF promo. Oh my God. This was a hilarious promo. I actually really enjoyed this promo. So this was tape from last week. The match was good though. Yeah, it was. And he's basically talking about how he knows Roderick Strong and Samoa Joe are going to be his final two opponents, and whoever he faces, they're going to lose. And you can see when MJF is talking about Roderick Strong, Adam Cole is just they're looking oh my God, what do I do? He looked bothered by that. But the fun part of this promo, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Scott Steiner math promo that he cut back in TNA back in the day, but MJF did his own version of this promo, and it was hilarious. Especially like Renee's face, she's just like looking at him like, what the fuck? And Adam Cole is just like, yeah, he's just like standing there, and oh my god. So I'm gonna read what he said. He said, and I quote, "See, normally if you go one-on-one with another wrestler, you got 50-50 chance of winning. But I'm a genetic freak. I'm not normal. So you got a 25% chance at best to beat me. And then you add my boy Cole watching my back to the mix, so your chances of winning drastically go down. See, our match at Grand Slam, you've got a 33rd and 1/3 chance of winning. But I've got a 66 and 2/3 chance of winning because everyone in New York knows that you can beat me. So Samoa Joe, you take your 33rd and 1/3 chance minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 and 1/3 chance of winning at Grand Slam. But you take my 75% chance of winning since we're wrestling in my home state of New York, and you add 66 and 2/3% chance. I got a 141 and 2/3% chance of winning at Grand Slam. See, Joe, the numbers don't lie, and they spell out disaster for you at Arthur Ashe. And then Adam Cole says disaster, which I thought was so hilarious. Like, I don't know how they all sat there with a straight face. And I don't know how MJF was able to get through this with a straight face. I was laughing just reading this. But I seriously wonder how many takes that took for MJF to get through this. I'm going to have to go back and see that MJF match. You should. It was hilarious. I enjoyed the promo as it was funny. Yes, it was so hilarious. This is my favorite part. I was laughing. And like we said, Renee's reaction was hilarious. Adam Cole was just standing there, But you heard what he said. The numbers don't lie. And they spell out disaster for Samoa Joe. Oh my God. I don't know if MJF had like a script in front of him or if he memorized it, all of this. But even if he did, like, you couldn't even tell. I really wish. Can't wait to see MJF versus Joe live next week. Oh, that should be fun. Yeah, you're going to Grand Slam. So I would like to see if there's bloopers for that and how many outtakes that took to get that in one taping. So let's talk about this Sex Gods segment that happened. So we find out that next week it's going to be Sammy Guevara versus Chris Jericho at Grand Slam. And they come out here and they cut a really good promo and a really good segment. I actually really loved this promo in this segment. I thought it was really, really good. I really like the fact that Jericho showed a video of all of their best moments. And they're basically like talking about how they've been together since the first episode of Dynamite. So that's like nearly 4 years. They've been through a lot, the highs and the lows. And Sammy makes a confession to Chris Jericho, and that confession is that he still doesn't know the lyrics to Judas. The crowd better be alive next week for this show. I'm hoping, because, usually the crowd makes or breaks the show. Chris Jericho talks about how he first saw Sammy in NWA in October 2018 and called Tony Khan to sign him and chose to take Sammy under his wing, and he's watched Sammy grow over the years. Guevara's turning heel next week. The way I feel like Sammy Guevara turns heel is if he loses. If he loses, I can definitely see him turn heel, especially what happened during this segment. But if he wins, I don't see him turning heel. The reason why I say that is because basically, like Chris Jericho says that in order for Sammy Guevara to beat him, he needs to be the best Sammy Guevara. Like Sammy Guevara says that AEW doesn't look at him the way they look at Moxley, at Jericho, and at Bryan. He wants AEW to look at him that way. That's why he needs to win this match. And he says that the Sammy standing in front of Jericho is going to beat Chris Jericho. And Sammy says that they'll hug, they'll shake hands, and then go on to win the tag titles. And Chris Jericho basically tells Sammy Guevara he's not going to go easy on him. And both men shake hands, and they have this moment where they just look at each other. So, again, like you were saying, if he turns heel, I think that Sammy Guevara will lose if he does turn heel. I mean, I think, let me rephrase that. I think that Sammy Guevara will turn heel if he loses. But if he wins, I don't think that he will turn heel. Would it make sense to speak Chris Jericho? But I do think Sammy Guevara is losing that because if the heel turn is coming. that's the perfect way to make the heel turn happen. But really good segment. Probably that and the MJF math promo was probably my favorite parts of tonight's Dynamite. So Dynamite kicked off with an AEW International title match, Jon Moxley versus Big Bill. Decent match. Moxley, of course, bled during this match. I think he got busted open during the picture-in-picture, so I didn't see what busted him open. From the video package, it looked like Guevara will turn here. Yeah, and if he does, you called it. If he does, you called it, definitely. But this was Jon Moxley's hometown of Cincinnati, Ohio. There is no way that he was going to lose this. Like, I like Big Bill, and I like Jon Moxley, but I knew right away from the get-go Jon Moxley was going to win this. Like, Ricky Starks comes out. Like, you guys remember this whole thing happened because, like, on Collision, Bryan Danielson tried to offer a hand to Ricky Starks. Big Bill beat him up. Then Jon Moxley came out, and I said that we were gonna John Bleedley Oxy. Oh, I get it. So then I said that we were gonna get probably Jon Moxley versus Big Bill for the international title, and we did get this. And then I said we were gonna get a tag match. We are getting that tag match, but it wasn't with who I thought it was gonna be. I'll explain to that one right now when I get there. So Bryan comes out and he helps Moxley with this. Again, Mox bleeds into him. It really was 10 minutes? Okay, I gotta start timing these Moxley bleeding spots. And Bryan, attacks Ricky Starks because he got involved in this match. But like I said, Jon Moxley wins by submission. He puts Big Bill in the triangle. And at the end, you had a post-match assault on Moxley, and Bryan and Claudio came to their aid, and he lifted Big Bill, but he didn't do anything because Ricky Starks and Big Bill got away. Then later on in the night, we find out that on this Saturday at Collision, it's going to be Big Bill and Ricky Starks versus Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castelloni. See, I thought it was going to be Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley versus Big Bill and Ricky Starks. That was something right. It should be a drinking game whenever he bleeds. Oof, someone's going to end up in the ER. So, not the tag match I was expecting, like I said, but hey, nevertheless, it was kind of right in that tag. We did get a tag match. Okay, we basically find out who Don Callis' next victim is. He comes out to the ring. You guys remember last week on Dynamite, he had a painting. He said he was going to reveal his next target. So he calls Konosuke Takeshita the Alpha, and he says he's a real Alpha, unlike Chris Jericho. You guys know Chris Jericho calls himself the Alpha. And he started naming list of wrestlers that Takeshita is better than, one of them being Okada. And it turns out that Don Callis' next victim is Kota Ibushi, which, according to Don Callis, is the living, breathing heart of Kenny Omega and a former IWGP champion. And he puts that screwdriver through the painting, symbolically saying that he's going to put a screwdriver to Ibushi. You did call it. You said it was going to be Ibushi. I remember you saying that. So I feel like it's going to be Takeshita versus Ibushi, probably at Wrestle Dream in Seattle. Should be a good match. We get a very quick backstage interview with Hook. Before he even gets a chance to say anything, Orange Cassidy approaches and asks Hook why is he so mad when he could wrestle and he still has a title. Ibushi versus Takeshita at Wrestle Dream. Yeah, I honestly think that's what's gonna happen. Basically, Orange Cassidy says that Hook is a great champion, and Hook says the same thing about Orange Cassidy. And Cassidy says he's still tired, so it kind of seems to me like they might build to Hook versus Orange Cassidy for the FTW title here. That's what I got from this segment, because why else would Orange Cassidy feel the need to interrupt Hook if that wasn't what this is going to lead to? Look at the Grand Slam 4-way Eliminator match. It's Toni Storm versus Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D. versus Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Shida. So I will say this match was also predictable. I knew from the moment this match was announced, Toni Storm was going to win, and that's exactly what happened. She ended up winning this match, so she's gonna face Saraya at Grand Slam. So during this match, like there was Britt accidentally kicked Shida, or Shida accidentally kicked Britt. Forgot who, but you know, Shida checked it on Britt, and they argue over that kick. So it seems like they're trying to do something there. Maybe Britt versus Shida, a rivalry renewed, except without the title. So after this, like Saraya, Snarf Fear appearance as well. Marina Shafir, yeah, she accompanied Nyla Rose to the ring. So Saraya says that Toni Storm has lost everything, including her mind, and that at the end, Toni Storm will be left without nothing. So I guess the Outcasts are pretty much done for, and I think Saraya is probably going to win that, especially since she just won the title. I don't think she's losing it so quickly. But I do think that's exactly what's going to happen. Although I do like this new Toni Storm segment. I mean, Toni Storm character that she's doing. We get Brian Cage versus Hangman Adam Page 3. So the first time they fought was on April 28, 2021 on Dynamite, which is a match that Brian Cage won. And then they fought again at Double or Nothing that year on May 30th, 2021. And that's a match that Hangman won. So this was a rubber match. They have a victory over each other. I didn't think this was a bad match. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Hangman do a 619 during this match? Like, he threw Brian Cage onto the ropes with the Hurricanrana, and then, like, he did a 619, right? I wasn't just imagining things. Swerve Strickland comes out, and he stands on the ramp, and he's just, like, watching. Of course, this temporarily distracts Hangman Adam Page, but nevertheless, it doesn't cost him the match, as he is victorious after he hits the Deadeye to Brian Cage. It was a decent match. Yeah, it was. So we find out that October 1st, Wrestle Dream, Swerve Strickland challenged Hangman Adam Page to a match. And of course, you know, they try to attack Hangman Adam Page from behind, but the Young Bucks come out and help Hangman Adam Page. Honestly, I really like their segment from last week. I hope they continue with stuff like that. That was a really good segment last week. I like that promo better from last week than I did the one that they did tonight. So we got... I'm still in shock that MJF did some cinemath, right? That was a pretty funny segment. I mean, MJF, like, really, I don't know how he said that with a straight face. Like, still, I want to know how many takes that took. If he did it in one take, my God, props to him. But that was hilarious. Even I couldn't say it in a straight face. So we get this Daniel Garcia backstage interview. And he starts talking about why are they asking him about Chris Jericho and Sammy when they should be talking about the Arizona Cardinals ruining his dance this past weekend, about how he went viral 4 times in a month, or about his career, how it keeps climbing. Scott Steiner would be proud. Steiner should sign with AEW now. I'm sure Scott Steiner would be proud. I mean, MJF did a really good job with that promo. So Don Callis interrupts him, and Garcia dances in front of him, and like Don Callis basically chases after him, saying that's money. So I wonder, are we not going to get like a storyline out of Chris Jericho turning his back on JAS? I mean, we got like 2 segments out of it, a couple segments out of it, and then nothing. We're not gonna have him feud with the JAS here. And I kind of thought that's what this Jericho Sammy thing was going. You know, maybe they were going to feud with the remaining members of JAS, but I guess that didn't happen. Kind of reminds me of when Preston Vance left the Dark Order. Like, nothing happened. You would have thought that maybe the Dark Order would want a feud or rivalry with Preston Vance, but nothing happened. I think Daniel Garcia will join the Don Callis. I mean, I think so too, especially after this segment. But speaking of JAS, you have Matt Menard and Angelo Parker versus Darby Allin and Nick Wayne with Christian Cage on commentary. Jake Hager and Anna Jay were at ringside. It wasn't enough, though. Darby Allin and Nick Wayne were victorious. And then Christian Cage, being the ever savage that he was, said that Nick's mom does not post enough bikini pictures and that he sent her a message on the side. And he's getting really pissed off at the fact that people are talking about Sting and Darby Allin's victory at All Out. Party time, excellent. And so basically challenges Darby Allin and Nick Wayne to a tag match at Grand Slam. So it's going to be Christian Cage and Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin and Nick Wayne in a tag match at Grand Slam. And I'm basically going to stop right there because I already talked about the main event. But, they set up Grand Slam, and honestly, Grand Slam seems to be stacking up to a really good show. Can't wait for Grand Slam. But tonight's Dynamite, there was so much going on. It was like there were so many backstage segments, so many backstage interviews. Like, what was Matt Menard and Angelo Parker versus Darby Allin and Nick Wayne supposed to do with Grand Slam? 3 out of 4. Are you ranking out of 4? Mid-show, very predictable. I mean, Matt Menard and Angelo Parker, I don't think they're going to be on Grand Slam. So it's like you could just had Christian Cage go out there and call Darby Allin and Nick Wayne out. The women's match, predictable. I knew Toni Storm was going to win. The main event was also predictable. Knew Samoa Joe was going to win. Grand Slam, I can't wait for it next week. It should be a good show. 3 out of 10, I meant. Oh, okay. 3 out of 10? That's okay. But I really did like that MJF promo. I like little less sex god stuff. The Samoa Joe stuff, that was pretty good. But aside from, Big Bill versus John Moxley was all right. So aside from that, this was an okay show. Moxley versus Big Bill did not make sense. Heel versus heel. Yeah, but remember, like I said, Big Bill did attack John Moxley after he tried to help Bryan Danielson on Collision. So I guess that's how this happened. I'm gonna have to give this. So is the BBC babyfaces now? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. There were some things I liked about tonight's show, and there were some things I disliked about tonight's show, but I didn't think it was too of a terrible show. So I'm gonna just give it a 6 out of 10 because I did like some stuff, but not everything. Alrighty then. So with that being said, that did conclude this review. Thank you guys all so much for watching. And as always, for the continuous support, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. Collision was worse. You really think so? Oh yeah. I don't review Collision. And as for Friday, I will be watching SmackDown and Rampage this week. So I'll see you guys Friday after Rampage. Bye.